Welcome to our lovely future humans, the mystics, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people who walk a walk and talk a talk like Jesus, Buddha, Sadhguru, a bunch of spiritually enlightening figures and more, and above all, our lovely greats, the scientists who prove humanity fragile, not needing to change. However, when brokenness seems to be present, that is where it's fixable. As I learned from one of the amazing other sciences, and when I say sciences, as a person who does personal development myself, and then with people who want to become their true self. So yeah, I haven't changed a bit. I'm still the same little personality pattern, temperament, and attachment, secure butthole of my 3-year-old. That's exactly why I bring to human, spiritual, and spirituality elements. And then for the spiritual growth and personal growth, we have paid content, free content, mentor right here, and workshops, retreats. By the way, if you're in the Naples, Italy area around September, we have one that's coming up. So mindful mindset practices, they work for the people who know humans don't need to change. Actually, one thing that as a future human, as a mystic, as someone who's spiritual, and I do have a relationship, I'm in communion with God, Source, Akash, Anima Mundi, and above all, intelligence and intellectually intelligent scientists like Dr. Daniel Siegel. I don't know them personally, but any intellectually intelligent scientist knows that mysticism is not something to poo-poo. However, we are woo-woo pseudoscience. It's okay. We're grounded in reality. Like Sam Harris points out, any grown-up, he doesn't use the word, I'll use the word, emotionally mature people. So who's vulnerable? Human beings. The ones who don't know how fragile they are when they don't have the capacity to be unseen and actually not notice from their mouth the fact that they'll say, and your confidence will be eroded. So, leadership, yes, they don't actually bow down to any of that, which is pretty much, let me think, because God likes to chime in and make sure I stay composed. Real life example of leader, ventral vagal state, human being who knows how to walk a walk and talk a talk like Jesus taught us, and therefore not hold on to envy, jealousy, spite, self-righteousness, and little energy. Now, when I meet the pettiness of that which is an emotionally immature person, while I know the good therapists, all the ones that I learned from, the greats, they continue to say, it's disrespectful to call them drama kings and queens. I'm like, but wait, haven't you noticed that you're being dismantled by one human being? No, two, no, three. No, there's a bunch of the 4D, 3D, not leaders, to a person like me. And it's any human being who notices what science and spirituality do together. The kingdom of God is within you. Heaven in the body. It's called restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating, and mindfulness is not a fad for those who consistently know how it works. It's called I don't endorse and justify any of my immature frustration. People irritate me because they are, let's see, I'm going to paraphrase. So lovely Sadhguru shares, people irritate you simply because they're not the way you expect or want them to be. Essentially, they're not like you. That was right. Yep. Personality patterns, check. Temperament, check. Secure, attached, check. So we're motivated differently, and we all have all of that which I listed. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel, with your PDP framework. So peace and peachy, yeah. Virtue, amazing. Flaws, plenty. Integrity, bountiful. When I see hypocrites, God taught me how not to pay the know-it-all because I'm like, attachment wounds flaring up. Securely attached, empowered human being who will basically, isn't enough to be. So when people have fragile egos, that's what happens. I don't have a fragile ego. I have a Maria ego, and then I also have God chiming in, and my mother, and all the smart scientists like Peter Levine. Humanity is very fragile, fragile, which is what keeps Maria to the nth degree in a level of humility. But it's really more about my body got a good start. Great body, thank you so much. Thank you, brain. And for every person who does not take the time to honor their true self and to go and get themselves healed, I'm still working to master my irritation. Because see, my Kali, she comes up with Shiva and Krishna Lila for I love humanity. I am one of it. And whenever I heard people as a teenager saying humans suck, I'm like, you're talking about yourself, right? No, you're not. Yeah, I stopped saying it because an empowered feminine understands once you got one human being who doesn't admit you're talking about yourself, 2 human beings, 3, you got a bunch of denial. And so when someone says, I don't want to be myself, yuck, I don't say, wow, Patrick Tiahan, man, I can't do anything because the therapist told me I can't. I can't tell someone, wow, the fact that you shudder away at wanting to be yourself means you don't like yourself. Because again, that's not nice. Because it's not. So grown-ups know how to say, never think in terms of who is doing better or worse than you. The only question is whether you are doing your best. Thank you, Sadhguru. Yes. Do you know how to do perfection in the healthy way? Right here. Imperfection, flaws, bountiful. But the point of the future is that we are smart, not stupid. And the ones who think humanity cannot make it, they suffer life. It's too sad for them because there's a solution. It's called therapy. And when I get to be around buffoons, sometimes I can handle the buffoonery. Other times I can't. And that's because I don't feel emotionally helpless or afraid or vulnerable with human species. The evil word doesn't mean anything to an empowered human being except for Michael Stone's forensic criminologist scale. And they all end up in prison or somewhere very unhealthily. And it's not actually funny. And then when I think of our Earth and how the volcanoes and the tectonic plates and all of the stuff that's happening and people are sensationalizing it, I'm like, why would I watch any movies? I just go to YouTube and I find a bunch of 3D, 4D people making it sound like we're about to end. And then there's the people who want that to happen. There's people who watch the Doomsday Clock. That's not interesting. I'm like, wow, you're wasting your time instead of cherishing your loved ones. That sounds horrible. No, but so the first 2 years of life, implicit memory. And that's why the people who are honoring themselves, they actually are the individuals who know how peace is the absence completely of war, all of it, inside, outside, and we can't make everybody peaceful inside because it's not our capacity. I will be able to forgive, turn the other cheek. I will be able to know you are blessed. I'm blessed. The kingdom of God is within you. I will not be able to help you learn that neuroscience is true and that the first 2 years of your life are affecting every single day the choices you make. And when someone, again, wants to bring the story of monsters in town and you have a future human and a person who loves humanity, because I said, yes, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, I promise. I will not cast a stone. I learned how, I'm so sorry, God, I was saying good and bad. That's how it worked for me when I was a kid. And then by the time I'm 20, I'm like, hey, God, so there's no Lucifer. It's just a bunch of cowards. They lie. They break the law. They lie some more. Meeting lawyers who do cocaine. What kind of a professional are you? You're a hypocrite. Meeting lawyers that only want to be lawyers because they make it look... Let's make sure to look good. I look good today? Yeah. Anybody remember the whole don't judge a book by its cover? Yeah, so when somebody regurgitates a bunch of material, but they actually are not participating with their entirety, it's called a buffoon, but you can't be rude to buffoons because they're the fragile humans. That's why they don't win. Evil can't win. It doesn't exist in the way of what our ancestors talked about, because we're in the future. So anyways, yeah, I still think of the ones who don't take their children to hospitals and they think that makes them more of faith. Do you understand how cognitive dissonance and structural dissociation work? As I do, and that's when I think logic. I have feelings that arise. I get, ew, and I don't like it. I mean, really, even without the neuroscience, mental health, I'm kind of like, you got an ego. As a teenager, again, I learned all about the insecure ones, and then I just thought that grown-ups, I was wondering what the heck was going on with all this fragility, and then I learned. So thanks, Peter Levine. So I don't actually want to get in the face of someone who's that fragile. I'm okay with them saying, at least they looked at me, because at least they got it off their fucking chest, and maybe they can go pout somewhere else, gossip behind my back. It doesn't really matter. I mean, petty behavior. Anyone? I mean, really, when I see it on a screen, I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. It's just amazing how many of the masses are following Schopenhauer's quote. I still, to this day, I do not welcome mediocrity, but that's exactly why God taught me not to play a know-it-all. One of my first and only needed lessons on because peace, it is virtuous, a state of mind, and it is a disposition for benevolence, confidence, justice, and truth. And as this smart man, he's a physicist, shares, the truth is not fragile. In fact, it will always float to the top. And I already knew about this since I was a teenager. That's why I said, hey, God, cowards. No Lucifer, just a bunch of liars. I don't get it. Today I know when your first 3 years of life are shit, you don't know how to tell the truth. So I like to let you all know I care about humanity, but I've noticed a bunch of people continue to think humanity needs to change because they're ignorant on the fact that if they haven't regained their sense of self yet, yes, They're going to want to work with those maladaptive patterns and the dysregulated nervous system. However, that's their choice. You can't make them. But when people want to act like buffoons, and that's what the movies and all of what I see when I'm out there in society, I'm just thinking, okay, well, this is the song that doesn't end, and it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and that's why I use the news stories, because they're all children who were really unfairly treated and by other people who were also children who were unfairly, and so it goes on. And we don't support transgenerational trauma, but we also don't play martyr superior, going telling people what they should or shouldn't do. And for the spiritual mystic community, we all know that science and spirituality work together, and God, Source Akash, works in the most mysterious of ways, and the reality is nobody disproves it. So as long as there are those of us of faith, it doesn't matter what words we'll use, we'll know who we are. And really it doesn't matter, because again, science doesn't disprove that which is love. Actually, it proves exactly why the truth always wins, because the solid foundation is what we have. The only ones who think we don't have one are the same ones who didn't get off to a good start. So their body is very fragile, which is why they think we can't make it. And every time I've heard that word, I'm like, wow, you are basically insulting me, because I'm a human. And I don't believe in any limitations, because my mind, brilliant, because I have an integrated brain though. So once you understand the well-being, what motivates you to be yourself? What will motivate you to do mindfulness? What will motivate you to open up your heart? And when people think it's hard to cry like a Zen master, then that Zen master really should contemplate the title that they chose, because they don't know how to handle bonding. So when I can cry because, I wanted to connect. I wanted a hug. I got angry. I got angry. When you can be neutral with all that arises, that's where you know. And you'll enjoy mindfulness, mindsight, and mindset practices, because it's fun. Whenever I get they're in my irritated little butthole, it's my 3-year-old, but she's fun to have around. I just so that's how it works when you're a whole self. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel, and the greats, we love them all. And again, God sent us Jesus, and Buddha, and Sadhguru, and Dr. Daniel Siegel. Let's thank all of them, and let's remember that fear and love coexist. So you wouldn't have free will if you didn't have to choose. Do you want to be kind? Unkind. Do you want to go to Patrick Chan to get that stuff dealt with so you can become an open-hearted, spontaneous 3-year-old? If you do, that'll be great. Healthy, self-worth people are bountiful. We look forward to meeting all of those who are the brave boys and girls and theys who welcome and honor themselves, and that's mystic, spiritual, and mindful, not the spiritual bypassers. But we won't tell the insecure, emotionally immature people, you're bad, because that's not, one, our role. There's God and Akash and Source. 2, as infinite Source, we always have the opportunity, thanks to the other frequency, the lower one. And it's not because they're inferior, no, it's that they're in a low frequency because their gut is what's ruling them in a defense mode. So they won't be able to wake up energized. There's a lot of explanations. If they were smart, which ego is blinded to being smart when it's refusing to look itself because it's that painful. The 3 years of implicit memory is not something small. So I get the therapists who say it's disrespectful to say the drama kings and queens. What they don't understand is I continue to see people bountiful with what is called objections that come from their own teenager version that says that's bullshit. I'm going to dismantle modern day therapists, one finger lady and this other dude who apparently, if you look away, you erode their confidence. Both are badass, and a bunch more to the people who are fearful ones. Because really, the minute you use words like this, if I look away, your confidence is eroded, I would have heard myself and said, shit, I need to go take care of that. The minute I say I can dismantle modern day therapists, wow, I got one hell of a fucking ego to think that I can dismantle all of these therapists. Like, this is pretty clear when you speak words of yourself in ways that are, am I a flawed human? Yes, I am. Can I have, oh yeah, I got plenty of ego. Can I act like I know it all? I don't know it all, but I do notice when I have a fearful one. It's not funny. It's actually something I feel sad for, because it's okay. You can get out of being a scaredy cat. I'm a scaredy cat with a grown brain in my prefrontal. I will to this day hope that if ever, and this in Italy means no, if ever I'm on a plane and I need to put that mask on, I hope I don't faint and pass out as a scaredy cat. I'm not afraid of being afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. That's how it works. We're not afraid in a vulnerable way. We're afraid in a hello. I live under the sky, dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode. So when you're cool with emotions, fear, anger, sadness, like a grown-up, that's why you're going to have fun here. And inspire human potential. So welcome aboard. We all have different motivations, and let's help our brothers and sisters, the ones who are fearful, to know that they're cool. They can get here too. So humanity doesn't need to change, but we can have those who are broken know that they're fixable, because shame is not a sin of a monster or any of like that. No, it's actually explainable by neuroscientists like Patrick McNamara, therapists, and more titles that I don't remember, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Stephen Porges, Bessel van der Kolk. So when you see anybody yelling at another person, they don't know how to handle their anger, which is why we started the paid content with anger, and we're going to continue because it's the most fun one for me. I'm still having a challenge and an opportunity. It's a challenge that has an opportunity, and I'm motivated by wanting to be more loving and not irritated, because there's no need. I don't correct people. God takes care of it. Laws take care of it. There we go. And Terry Real is awesome to teach each other how to speak like grown-ups more and more. So have a great one. Tune on in.